Okay, we're live. Thanks for joining, guys. I appreciate you being here tonight. Give me a 5x5 if you can hear me. Okay. Should be able to hear me. I just checked the sound. Let me know if you're with me, and then we'll get started here. First question of the night is, what is obstruction? Axioms Revolt says obstruction is a physical act. I would tend to agree. We're going to take a look at some of that. We're going to look at this video, well done video, by the way, by San Joaquin Jr. and Popo Radar. And it really serves as an example of walking within your rights and still getting arrested by the cops anyway. It's dangerous to be wrong when the government, or dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. Another example of dangerous to be right when the government is wrong. And the government is wrong all the time. Matter of fact, government doesn't even exist because government is a concept that some people have the right to rule you, and you have the obligation to obey their rulership, or you will be punished. And they believe you'll be rightly punished. And it's not right to punish somebody who's innocent. So what is obstruction? Obstruction, just a raw definition of the word. We'll talk about obstruction of justice here in a second, but the action of obstructing or the state of being obstructed. Wow, that tells us a lot. Thank you. I appreciate that. A thing that impedes or prevents passage or progress, an obstacle or blockage. And every word that's used as a synonym is physical. It's a physical act of keeping somebody from doing something. Obstacle, a barrier, a stumbling block, a hurdle, a bar, a block, an impediment. So it's getting in the way of somebody doing something. And in this case, when we're talking about obstruction of justice, it's getting in the way of an official doing their job. Although I would contend, since those officials are agents of injustice, then what you're actually obstructing is you're obstructing injustice. It's like if you got in the way of Al Capone and his henchmen while they were committing criminal activity, would that be obstruction of justice or obstruction of injustice? So let's go ahead and go over obstruction of justice right here real quick. The meaning of obstruction of justice as defined in 18 U.S.C. 1503 defines obstruction of justice as an act. It's an act. It's not words. It's an act. So even 18 U.S.C. 1503 says that obstruction of justice is an act that corruptly or by threats or force or by any threatening letter or communication influences, obstructs or impedes or endeavors to influence, obstruct or impede the due administration of justice. So let me ask you, is giving somebody advice which is in line with the Constitution of the United States, which is still supposed to be the supreme law of the land, is giving just advice according to the supreme law of the land, can that ever be considered as obstruction of justice? Can you actually turn a right into obstruction of justice? And then they go on here, what's an example of obstruction of justice? The punishment in most cases will mirror the act that hindered or obstructed. For example, suppose a personal friend is wanted for a misdemeanor crime of larceny. If you did an act which hindered in the discovery or apprehension of your friend, you would be guilty of obstruction of justice. And that brings us to this video right here. We're going to go over some of this, and I will be interrupting some so that we can talk about this, because this is super important. Because a lot of times a cop, because they get irritated with you, or because they're acting on feelings, or they're drunk on their own psychopathic power, will say you're obstructing justice. And if you continue obstructing justice, the justice we're trying to mete out in society, you will be arrested. So let's watch some of this.
Hey, don't talk to them. Don't answer any questions. You only incriminate yourself.
You're impeding my investigation.
Go ahead and go over there.
You're impeding my investigation. Let that sink in.
If I don't, are you gonna arrest me?
Yes, because you're impeding my investigation.
You're under arrest.
For what, man?
I told you to leave,
Whoa,
but you didn't
whoa,
want to leave.
whoa.
So San Joaquin Jr. gets arrested. So let's go ahead and watch the rest of this.
Get your name and badge number real quick.
Scary 153.
What's that? What was the badge number?
Scary 153.
953. Thank you, man.
Clearly standing on a sidewalk, a public sidewalk. Clearly standing away from the police activity. Clearly not obstructing.
Hey, don't talk to them. Don't answer any questions. You only incriminate
You
yourself.
you're impeding my investigation.
I'm not being at the that's free
If
speech.
you don't, hey, listen.
That's free
you have
speech.
the right to,
I have
you
a right
the
to free
film.
speech.
If you don't go over there right now, I will arrest you.
For what?
Which I don't want to do.
For
You're
what?
impeding my investigation.
That's physical, man. I'm not impeding anything.
Okay.
He's right. Obstruction or impeding or impediment is physical. It's a physical act. But telling this girl that she does not have to say anything in accordance with the Fifth Amendment right to be silent, to keep silent, to say nothing, that cannot be construed as obstruction. And let me just talk about this, because this is a super important Supreme Court case. This is another example where the Supreme Court and a lot of people are okay with it, and it seems like it's okay because, hey, what they actually came up with in this City of Houston versus Hill was actually in accordance with the First Amendment, which was in accordance with the Fifth Amendment. So in the City of Houston versus Hill, the Supreme Court found a city ordinance, and they had a city ordinance. This isn't just some verbal edict or directive or arbitrary command or thought that came out of a law enforcement officer because he got his feelings hurt. This was actually a city ordinance in the city of Houston prohibiting verbal abuse of police officers, and the Supreme Court declared it to be unconstitutionally overbroad and a criminalization of protected free speech, which is exactly what you're going to see happen right here with San Joaquin Jr., is they criminalized free speech. That's what happens when you arrest somebody. You actually make somebody out to be a criminal because they exercise their First Amendment right that the cops are supposed to be there to protect, uphold, and defend. So Hill was arrested under a law prohibiting verbal abuse of police. Houston police had arrested Raymond Wayne Hill for yelling, "Why don't you pick on somebody your own size?" when a police officer arrested a friend of his. The police then arrested Hill for violating an ordinance determining that, quote, "it shall be unlawful for any person to assault, strike, or in any manner oppose, molest, abuse, or interrupt any policeman in the execution of his duty or any person summoned to aid in making an arrest." Yeah, they're not going to abuse that, right? No way that they're going to abuse that. How could any law enforcement officer continue to stay on the force, the police force, and they don't call it force for nothing, when they know that there's an ordinance right here that says that right there? How could they ever say, "Hey, hold on a second. Wait. That ordinance clearly violates the First Amendment right to freedom of speech and freedom of press." To oppose a policeman in the execution of his duty, like if somebody verbally opposed me and said, "Hey, what you're doing is wrong," that your ordinance gives the cop an opportunity or a reason to arrest that person? After his acquittal in municipal court, Hill filed a federal lawsuit seeking a declaratory judgment of the Houston law as unconstitutional. A federal district court rejected his claim, but a federal appeals court reversed, finding the ordinance to be unconstitutionally overbroad and criminalizing a substantial range of protected free speech and conduct. On appeal, the Supreme Court invalidated the ordinance by an 8-1 vote. And here's what they said right here. According to Justice Brenner, he said, the guy who authored the court's opinion wrote, quote, "The First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at police officers." Might as well memorize that. That'd be a good thing to memorize. Did you realize, officer, that the Supreme Court ruling in Hill versus the City of Houston, the First Amendment protects a significant amount of verbal criticism and challenge directed at you police officers? But this guy couldn't take that. And all San Joaquin Jr. did was tell this girl, "Hey, you got a right to not say, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to answer any of their questions."
Want to get over there or no, sir? I do not want to take you to jail.
I'm not doing anything. I'm on public property.
Impeding is a physical act, but under the threat of arrest,
Let's go. You're under arrest.
For what, man?
I told you to leave.
Whoa,
but you
whoa,
didn't
whoa,
want to
whoa,
leave.
whoa, 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 whoa.
Stop.
Whoa, man. Hey, I'm
Give me
not.
another pair of handcuffs.
I'm not resisting or anything.
Yeah, I know you're not.
What am I getting arrested for?
You guys need to get back off too.
What am I getting arrested for?
I'm on public
For
property.
impeding my investigation.
Impeding your investigation.
Yep.
What is
Impeding an
that? What
investigation.
penal code is that?
DC 148.
148. That's 148A1.
Yep.
148. Whoa,
No, whoa.
Stop.
Look
Give me another pair of handcuffs.
Look, he did not do anything
You guys
wrong,
need to get back off too.
and
What am I getting arrested for? I'm on
he's
public
getting,
property.
he's getting.
Impeding your investigation.
Yep.
What is that? What penal code is that?
DC 148.
148.
Let me just stop and say this, okay? I mean, in the mind of anybody, did he commit any crime? Did he harm somebody? Did he threaten to harm somebody? Did he steal somebody's property and not offer to pay for it? Did he do anything wrong to anybody? Did he leave a real material victim? No, all he did was used his speech, used his vocal cords, and an audio wave went out and it reached the ears of the law enforcement officers. This is really, when you boil it down, this is what happened. That audio wave reached their ears, and because they didn't like to be challenged, they didn't want San Joaquin to tell this woman that she has the right to not comply with the police officers. They didn't like that, and so they decided to use their force and their violence, their monopoly on force and violence, to put this guy's hand behind his back and put him in handcuffs, throw him in a police car, and then put him into a rape cage, which he spent all night until 5 o'clock the next morning in. That's just, this is literal criminal activity. This is crime committed by cop.
That's 148A1.
Yep. Okay, can you open this real quick?
Sanchez, 1347.
That number, both you guys.
J. Sanchez, 1347.
Let's see, regular pay 71,000, overtime pay 34,000, other pay 15,000, total pay $120,000 plus benefits and pension. Total pay and benefits $165,176.58. That is a crazy amount of money. And what is he out there doing? Engaged in road piracy, engaged in throwing innocent people into rape cages, throwing them in the back of a car, engaging in kidnapping. That's what this is. The guy literally did nothing wrong. And actually, he stood on the Constitution that Sanchez, Joshua Sanchez here, that makes $165,000 a year, is supposed to be supporting, protecting, and defending. And he does the exact opposite. And these people are wondering why they earn so much hate. This is exactly why right here. So let me go back to the Supreme Court decision right here, this City of Houston versus Hill. He added that freedom of individuals verbally to oppose. Let me get this back in frame for you so you guys can see it, the whole thing. He added the freedom of individuals verbally to oppose or challenge police action without thereby risking arrest is one of the principal characteristics by which we distinguish a free nation from a police state, says a black-robed tyrant of the Supreme Court. You know it's bad when a black-robed federal tyrant from the Supreme Court, one of those banker-bought buddies up there, one of the 9, when he says something like this, you know it's a bad day. You know things are going south real quick. Freedom of individuals verbally to oppose or challenge police action without thereby risking arrest is one of the principal characteristics by which we distinguish a free nation from a police state. And yet, what does Joshua Sanchez do right here? He initiates a police state there in Bakersfield, California. This is outrageous, outlandish, unacceptable.
You know that was an unlawful arrest, right?
Man, they should be sued to high heaven, lose their job, lose their pension.
You guys to stand back over here. When you're this close to us, you're impeding our investigation.
This is public
I
property.
like what Denver Metro Audit says. Do you want us to attach ourselves to your pension for the rest of your life? We'll keep on going, buddy.
You guys can film, but we need you to go
I know-
over there.
I know what you
okay?
do. I know.
So
I know.
go ahead and go over there. Go ahead and go over
We
there.
don't need your permission, Jay
If I don't, you
Sanchez.
gonna arrest me?
Look at that, Jay Sanchez.
Yes, because you're
Yeah.
impeding my investigation.
No,
so go over there.
that's an unlawful arrest. It'd be
Go
another
over
one.
there. You're
All right.
impeding our investigation.
How far back
Okay?
do you want me?
Until you see that cone over there? Right where that cone's at.
There's another one right here.
Rex Davenport, 934.
protected activity.
Sure, from a safe distance.
You create that safe distance by putting up crime scene tape if it's an investigation.
Where's the tape?
Where's the tape?
I already told you guys to stay behind that cone over there.
Right here.
Good for these guys.
Hey,
Stand on the
Davenport,
ground.
can you let me know the statute on safe distance, please?
I don't have to.
Okay, can you give me your badge number?
It's what I determined.
Name and badge
It's what you
number.
determined?
Yes.
All right, what's your badge number?
Name and badge number.
934.
934? You know what the First Amendment is?
Not kidding, guys. Every one of them should, at the minimum, lose their jobs. At the minimum, lose their pension, lose all their retirement, lose all of their benefits as kind of a signal to the rest of the cops. Hey, if you want to keep your job, you need to be doing what you're supposed to be doing, and that's protecting the rights of the public.
Of course you don't.
Not paying your bills today, boy.
Yeah, sure. Let your ego get out of your head, bud.
You guys are funny.
Yeah. Whatever. Get the fuck out of here. Get out. Hey, dip. So that's pretty much the end.
They don't care. They don't care about taking away people's rights. They don't care. Who is this guy? What's this guy's name? Jay Sanchez and Rex Davenport. Since he's got 3 stripes, looks like he's a sergeant. And they don't care. It's funny to them. It's funny to them when they kidnap. It's funny to them when they cage. It's funny to them when they take away rights. It's funny to them when they economically torment and torture people. So again, guys, this is from San Joaquin Jr., and this is very instructive. Anytime a First Amendment, Second Amendment auditor goes out there and a cop violates the very rights that they swore to protect, defend, and uphold, it's very instructive for all of us because we need to understand what obstruction is. We need to understand what obstruction of justice is. We need to understand some of these Supreme Court cases probably and have those in our arsenal so that we can launch at these guys. Not that they even care. Because, we still have 18 U.S.C. 242 deprivation of rights under color of law. And that's exactly what this is. Depriving San Joaquin Jr. of his rights under the color of law. You obstructed justice. You impeded our investigation. Impeding your investigation never, ever trumps the First Amendment. Obstruction of justice never trumps the First Amendment. You can verbalize your disagreement. You can verbalize your hatred even for cops. Look what Justice Brennan says. Freedom of individuals verbally. Let me get that down there for you. Freedom of individuals verbally to oppose or challenge police action without thereby risking arrest is one of the principal characteristics by which we distinguish a free nation from a police state. Well, I guess in Bakersfield, California, Rex Davenport and Jay Sanchez, they're okay with Bakersfield, California being a full-on police state. If you haven't done so already, guys, hit the like button. I don't know how many likes we got in the room. 107 likes. Only 227 people in here. I guess this channel sucks. Nobody wants to watch your live streams, Brian. If you want to support the channel, Axioms of Revolt, put the Cash App in there if you want to support more content on here. But spread this video wherever you can, guys. And subscribe to people like San Joaquin Jr. and Popo Radar, because they're out there doing the stuff that is hopefully going to secure our rights and shine the spotlight on these tyrant cops and hopefully get them to lose their job, hopefully get them to straighten out so that we can have a better society, because that's really what this is all about. Carving out a better society for ourselves and for our children in the future, because if we don't do it, man, who's going to? This is the only shot we got. And with the Great Reset coming, the Klaus, Fourth Industrial Revolution, you'll own nothing and be happy. Great Reset, Schwab. They want to take the money. They want to set up CBDCs, the central bank digital currencies. They want to, interrupt the food supply. It's going to be a horrible world if we don't all start standing up for each other. So guys, thank you. I appreciate it. This is the end of the live stream, and I will see you guys